Hey guys, this is Ryan Lina. You may remember me from the podcast with Rich talking about the Harford County comedy scene. Well, I'm here to tell you the tickets are on sale now for my first ever live comedy special taping, Ryan Lina, The Silliest Goose, at the Havre de Grace State Theater on March 15th. It's going to be a night of food, drinks, laughter, and good times. Bring your friends, your family, your spouse, your enemies. I don't care. As long as they like to laugh, they're going to want to see the show. Tickets are available at bigtimingcomedy.com/events. Again, that's bigtimingcomedy.com/events. Buy some tickets and we'll see you on the 15th. And now, back to the show.
Hey everyone, it's Rich Bennett. Can you believe it? The show is turning 10 this year. I am so grateful for each and every one of you who've tuned in, shared an episode, or even joined the conversation over the years. You're the reason that this podcast has grown into what it is today. Together, we've shared laughs, tears, and moments that truly matter. So I want to thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make the next 10 years even better.
Coming to you from the Freedom Federal Credit Union Studios, Harford County Living presents Conversations with Rich Bennett.
Slow pitch
It's probably the least sexy part of the organization. No. The truth is,
Today on Conversations with Rich Bennett, we have an incredible guest joining us, Evgeniy Kharam. Evgeniy is a renowned cybersecurity consultant and thought leader who has worked with some of the largest enterprises across Canada, the U.S., and Europe. With years of experience tackling complex technical challenges, including time spent working alongside industry icons, Evgeniy has mastered the art of bridging technical expertise with human connection. He's here to talk about his new book, Architecting Success, The Art of Soft Skills in Technical Sales, Connect to Sell More. In it, he shares invaluable insights on simplifying technical ideas, improving communication, and creating meaningful connections. Key strategies that have helped him and countless others succeed in their careers. And within the title, even though it says technical sales, those of you, I don't care what you're selling, I believe you're going to get a lot out of this because I've done sales for a long time, and you can learn from every industry when it comes to sales. So first of all, how's it going, Evgeniy?
It's all good. I'm very happy to be on the show. Thank you for having me. We're looking to the conversation.
My pleasure. So I want to start from the beginning of the book.
Yes.
Who is Evgeniy?
Who's Evgeniy? This is actually was not done by me. It was done by my mentor and the guys that hired me. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of fun because we were looking to have someone to write the forwarder, and we found someone. But then I wanted to have someone that knows me really, really well. Right. To write about who is Evgeniy and a bit of the quirks about Evgeniy. I am a fun individual. I'm not very serious most of the time. But when it's come to work and doing the work, I am serious. But I do like to balance between the work and having fun. I fundamentally believe that you cannot work hard without having fun. You just all go nuts. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're just having fun, but you need to incorporate some of the humor, jokes, and fun into the work, then the hard work become much more enjoyable and fun as well.
I agree with you 110% there. That's one of the things my father always taught me. He said, you got to have fun at work because if you're not, it's just going to get boring and you're not going to like it.
You wake up in the morning and you're happy to go to work, drive to work, roll out of the bed and to your laptop right now. Sometimes the commute can be very, very fast these days. Then it's good.
Oh, yeah. So with the book, and I want to dive right into this. The first chapter, defining sales collaboration roles. How do you think the evolving dynamics between sales engineers and sales people impact the customer experience in technical sales today?
It's definitely changed by many structures. Because if you would go 15 years ago, and not just in cyber, in many other professions as well, the sales guys was the one that smoothing, that doing all the sales, buying the cookies, buying the lunches. And when it's time to do a demo, the engineer will come in a way, like almost like a demo monkey. Hey,
Right.
do the demo. Try not to talk too much with the people. Make sure they understand. If they ask you questions, reply to them, and then go back to your seat and let me close the deal. Yes, I'm a bit kind of going hard, but in essence, the sales engineer role was not to create the connection, was not to follow up, for good and for bad. Definitely change.
Right.
It's more of a team work right now. In the good teams, it was a teamwork in the past as well, but now it's even more. But in the same time, not just the sales engineer work change, the salesperson itself role changed as well. If you look on what's happening in technology, not just technology, pretty much everywhere, we have a very educated buyers.
Yeah.
And with ChatGPT, you don't need a degree to be educated buyer. If you want to buy a car, if you want to buy a new kitchen combined, firewall, appliance, whatever it is, you can go to ChatGPT or similar and say, hey, I'm doing a research on XYZ. Tell me what do I need to know? Tell me what I need to know in advance. So when you're coming to sell to such customers, you need to understand that they kind of know what they want in most of the cases. Now, there's a but. Because the but, if you come in with something new, if you've only been around for a year, and people don't really understand fully what you do, then yes, you will do some education. And we'll talk about this, how you do the education. That's very, very important. But to stay on the idea of what's changed, the salesperson now not only, let me rephrase it, need less education in many cases, but they need to understand how companies buy. Because in the past, was a bit easier. Now you have a lot of documents. You need a lot of agreements. You need to have a lot of legal. You need to make sure you have all the paperwork. You need to understand when is their buyer cycles. So you almost became like a procurement guru versus just, hey, let me show you how our technology works and why you should buy it.
I remember when I was in the IT field years ago, long time ago, it seemed, and I didn't do sales, I was service, but it seemed like the salespeople, it was a lot easier then, I guess, because a lot of places were just getting into it. If that makes sense.
It was easier to fluff in a way.
Yeah.
Because people didn't really know exactly what's happening.
Right.
But now you cannot just say something that it's not true. People will catch you. You really need to be careful on what are you telling people, what is the story, and how you also present the story.
Yeah, and especially, I guess, with AI growing the way it is, too. I never even thought about when you said, people can use ChatGPT to just go in and find information. I never even thought about that.
And it's become more popular and popular because if it takes you 10 minutes in Google and it may take you less in ChatGPT, or let's say you need to find a data sheet or a PDF or manual of something. Could be cyber, could be IT. You can go to ChatGPT, say, I'm looking for a manual or explanation, or please compare these two products to me. You're not going to go the same, but you're going to get a high level. And I'm not telling people that listen to us right now, trust GPT, everything they say. Unfortunately, no, we're not there. Right. But the high level, the idea, the exploration, the understanding, I think it's a very good platform to do it. And you don't need to go, let's put it like that. 20 years ago, if you want to research a topic, you have to go to a library. You don't need to go to a library anymore, even so I suggest people to go to a library because it's an amazing place, but it's different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and with the salesperson part, and this may be where technical sales is different than, say, I don't know, real estate, car sales, or whatever. Does the salesperson still need to, like nowadays, other sales, you have to build that relationship first? Do you still have to do that even with technical sales, or do you go in right for the close?
I think even more right now.
Okay.
Because there are so many similar companies, and because of people education and the relatively ease of finding such companies, of friends in the industry, LinkedIn, Reddit, people are going to ask you and challenge you, hey, how are you different than other company? So creating the connection, I think it's fundamental.
Yeah.
And because people lack of focus is very, very big. Like right now, you and me recording over video. Some people are going to listen to this. Some will see partial of the video. But for people that listening to us, think about that. Most of us have more than one screen at home. Most of us right now working from home for a variety of reasons. And even if you're at work, you have more than one screen. So if I'm calling you, or we have a Zoom call or Google call, would you actually pay attention fully to me? Or maybe you're going to have LinkedIn, Facebook, Outlook, you name it, running on a second screen, and it will say, yeah, very interesting. This is so good. Wow, yeah, really, really
Plus
cool
the
stuff.
phone screen as well.
Yes. So compared to face, you and me meeting in an office, when you kind of not going to look on your phone every minute or every 2 minutes, it's going to be strange. Or you and me having a lunch, when you may glance on your phone once or twice, but in majority of the time, I'm going to have your capture attention for the duration of the meeting. It's much easier for me to sell you or get to the point or get to the interesting part. Now, I believe we have to find a way to connect. We have to find a way to find something in common. Like even on this call right now, recording, we didn't jump right away to recording. We joined the call. We spoke about the weather, even so we're not intended. We spoke about some ideas. And
get to know each other a little bit.
Yes. Right. Like, hey, are you a good human being? Would I have fun? Or it's going to be just transactional? Right. And then when people learn more about each other, they want to connect. So for people that maybe going to watch, I may be going to ruin this for you, but you have a green screen behind you, or similar to green screen. And when I joined, I wanted to ask, hey, why do you have the green screen? Do you use a virtual background? So it's almost like a hook. I don't have any hooks right now behind me, but sometimes I do have a green screen. I move to a different place. I may have different pictures behind me. There are so many different ways to find a way to connect to each other. We can go on LinkedIn. We can do a tiny research about the person without, you don't have to be kind of going very, very deep and say, oh, nice boat you have there. I know what you did in Miami last year. This boat is amazing. Don't be a creep, okay? Be respectful to people. But if you are respectful, so let's say you're in technology and you go on LinkedIn and you research someone and you see the posts they're doing, the comments they're making. It can give you ideas about the person. And sometimes people ask her, but what if I don't see anything from this person? Even on LinkedIn, it's barely nothing. Hint to you, these people are more reserved. They're not so flashy. They're more personal. Not good and bad, but it gives you an indication the type of person they are. If you're going to go all extrovert on them, full blown, probably not going to work. It's probably better to be a bit more reserved, a bit to the point. They're going to like this as well. But every person in the world, if you find what triggers them, it will work. Maybe the building shaped out of wood after work. Why not? You can able to find them somewhere else. And people that have a hobby, and I think majority of us have one hobby or another, will be happy to share information about their hobby if you ask it correctly. So I'll give you an example. I don't really like golf. Honestly, don't like golf for a variety of reasons. I respect golf, but I don't like golf. If I will be on the call with you and I know you like golf, I may tell you, you know what? I will never understood why people like golf. I tried, but can you share your view, why you like golf so much? And I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be faking. I do want to understand. I do have an idea. It's this idea of commitment, is this idea to repeat something and be good all the time, is to understand the wind, understand and be in beautiful outdoors as well. There's a lot of things that are catchy. It's nice to be outdoor for a couple of hours with people you like.
Well, that's basically, that's your research too. And I think, in all honesty, I think a lot of salespeople, depending on what field they're in, but I think it's something where they're missing the boat. They're not doing their research. They're not finding out about the individual they want to talk to or they need to talk to. And
yes.
How, and I'm sure you cover this in your book as well, but is there a secret besides what you just said, but of course you got to get past the gatekeeper to get that main call. Is there a secret to where they can do their research to find out more about the individual, I guess, the decision maker that they need to talk to?
Decision maker is going to be a bit harder because it's going to be depend on the company. But I think decision maker is part of your discovery on the call. So during the call, maybe not the first call, maybe on the second call, you can gently ask, just to understand the lay of the land. To move this forward, what do we need to do? Is there other people in your team? Is there other people in the organization? They need to see my solution. They need to bless my solution. And when you build the tiny rapport, the tiny connection, you can ask, just to understand, would you be the person that will be signing this contract? Was this a rude question? No. It can go rude, it can go direct, because if the person is not the guy or the girl and they want to feel like they're important, they may get offended. So you need to understand how and how to ask it in a way that not to hurt their feelings.
Going back to the what you were talking about earlier, basically like the pre-meeting research, what's one surprise and insight or opportunity you've uncovered through the pre-meeting research that significantly enhanced the sales interaction for you?
When I'm doing the research correctly and I understand what people did and who they're following, I can not potentially understand, because if they're following my competitors, for example, if I can find the calling of my competitors, like, okay, it's not and the first time education completely. Besides being educated, you already know my competitors. So I need to understand and present it better and decide, do I just go blind? In the blind, I mean, I just talk about myself and not trying to say why I'm better than somebody else.
Right.
Or I say, hey, when we are better than somebody else. But knowing the information that we are not first, or knowing the information that other players, and there's usually other players, and who they are, can definitely help me to decide my angle. Also, definitely can find me how to connect you and how to talk to you as well. Because some people, we want to understand more and talk. Some people really want to see the demo. Some people want to understand the architecture and how it's going to work.
Right.
I was on a call with a client of mine, with their customer, like literally this week, and we were explaining a reporting structure of the product. And one of the guys was an architect. Now, I'm also an architect, and I was kind of curious what's going to happen, because I had a feeling that he will try to go deep. And yes, like he went deep, like, oh, so you're showing us this report. What is the mechanism? How do you decide this report good and bad? It's like, okay, great. And we were smiling because we kind of expected a bit some of these deep questions, and it was good. It wasn't bad. But when you know who will be on the call, you can expect what kind of questions they're going to be, because some people asking questions out of curiosity, and some people asking questions because they want to show they're the smarter people in the room.
I don't even know if I'd be able to do it nowadays, but with the rise of cybersecurity, is it there? And you mentioned competitors. Is it very challenging? Is there a lot of different companies out there? Oh God.
Yeah. It's almost like mushrooms. The moment somebody come up with the idea, you should expect in few months to have another 4 or 5 companies. And in a way, if you look on this, if you're the only companies doing this, why? Where's the collective human brain that only you can idea? No, okay, we can maybe claim that Tesla was the first electric car idea, but then again, not so quickly, but relatively quickly, people was able to keep up and do it right now. But yes, sometimes we have ideas and they're going to be the first one with the idea, but we're going to have people coming with a very similar idea or version 2 of the idea doing something similar.
All right. So be honest with me.
Yes.
How many different companies have come to you and tried to recruit you?
People usually come and try to recruit me all the time.
Okay.
Since I left Herjove Group about 2.5 years ago, many companies usually asking to recruit. But because I wanted to be independent for now, then it's not go for now.
Okay. You're focused on being an author now, right? An authorpreneur?
I am trying to focus to be an author, but if the author listening to me right now, they know it's not an easy way to make a living.
No, it's not.
No. So it's a complementary. I playing the game of being an author, but I also do understand this is not Harry Potter. It's not going to sell 10 and 100 millions of copies. So I use the book as a way to get in. I use the book to way to do more sessions, present to people. It's a very, very good, it's not easy to write a book. There's a lot of people that claim, just go and ChatGPT, you're going to have a book in 10 minutes. This is the book you're going to have in 10 minutes. And it's not going to be deep at all. It's not going to be interesting at all, probably as well. So it does give you credibility to have a book. It does give you more understanding. It's something I carry in my trunk, in my car. And from time to time,
Smart.
When you're speaking to customers physically, not over Zoom, you give it away. Oh my God, I have a book, your book sign. It's definitely a nice gesture as well.
Yeah. Now, do you actually go and outside of, the sales part, do you actually go and speak like at, I don't know,
conferences?
Like conferences and all for cybersecurity and all?
Yeah. I did it before the book as well. And I spoke a few after the book came out as well, and planning to do more as well.
Okay.
And it is nice and interesting because as part of the conferences, many of them can give you a table to sell the book, to sign the book, to attract people as well.
And this is your first book, right?
Yes.
Not your last, though.
No, not. I already realized, and I'll give you a hint. A lot of stuff in a book applicable not just to sales. What I didn't realize when I was writing the book is that there's a population of people that are going to be even more applicable. There's actually several of them. So one, engineering and communication is one is very important, but even more focus is immigrants. Immigrants in Canada and US, because my journey as a second-time immigrant, from what I see right now and when I'm talking to people, it's very, very appealing. People like, hey, Evgeny, what do you do with your accent? Are you okay with your accent? How hard it was for you to go and do public speaking? But I'm afraid of this. But what do I do here? There is meetings and I'm afraid to talk because I think people may not understand because of my accent. A lot of the people that are not native, and for the native folks, is like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's not something that you can understand because you've never been in the shoes.
I've never even thought about that. And I guess just because, I've talked to so many different people, from different countries and everything. And being in the IT world before, you get used to it.
So you've been in the IT world before. You probably know many help desk people, many IT people that are amazingly smart, amazingly shy in the same time. They will write you an email, they'll come talk to you, but They will not stand on a chair and explain to the entire room what's missing, what's wrong, and how we need to behave.
Yeah.
From a variety of reasons. And they still want to advance in the career, and they should be advancing in the career. Do you know that public speaking is the second phobia after death?
Yes. That does not surprise me because I do know of a few musicians, top musicians, that were afraid of that. Well, when you're singing, they call it stage fright, but they would stand behind the speakers and sing.
Now, think about that. You mentioned stage fright.
Mm-hmm.
In childhood, do any people, anyone, teach kids, us when we were kids, about fear? If you went to a school, if you went to a theater as a child, they will explain stage fear. Why? Because everyone has them there.
Yeah.
And they will teach you breathing, they will teach you visualization techniques to overcome fear or accept the fear. The other part may be martial arts. When you go to a ring and fight, nobody wants to get punched in the nose. We all know that all your plans go to hell.
Right.
The moment you get punched in the nose. But beside these two, maybe the army later on, we're not actually teaching people how to overcome fear. So, not surprisingly, people will be scared to talk because the moment they're talking, it means somebody say, "Oh, you're stupid. This is nonsense. What are you talking about? What are you even saying? I have no idea what you're trying to achieve here." And I'm being rude right now on purpose because this is what we're afraid from.
Yeah.
Not, what was not a joke that people used to throw tomatoes, the long time ago. So we still have this. Now, multiply this part if your language is not perfect, if your pronunciation is not perfect. Maybe you're struggling. Maybe you're talking too fast. Maybe you have a very heavy accent.
You're listening to Conversations with Rich Bennett. We'll be right back. I want to take a moment to talk about something really exciting. See, we love partnering with reputable businesses, companies that are making a difference, providing top-notch services, and building trust in their communities. And if that sounds like you, I want to invite you to become a sponsor. Sponsoring the podcast and Harford County Living isn't just about advertising. It's about real connections. You'll get premium exposure across our podcast, websites, and social media, putting your brand in front of an engaged, loyal audience. And here's the best part. Right now, we have limited sponsorship spots available for the year. And if you pay annually, you'll get 25% off. You heard me right. 25% off. And you're going to love this even more. That rate is locked in for the lifetime of your sponsorship. So even if those levels go up 5-10 years from now, you're paying what you pay now. That's it. So if you're looking for a strategic way to grow your business and reach the right people, let's talk. Email me at richbennett@danben.com. That's DANBEN.com. And let's make 2025 an unforgettable year for your brand and into the future.
Does the idea to talk and open your mouth and project your voice may take time to kind of get there? I used to talk very fast. I actually still talk very fast between my friends,
right?
In a different situation, not when I'm on recording or podcasting. I used to struggle quite a lot, and I will having hard time to explaining what's happening and kind of eat the end of the sentence. I did find a connection between this and being relaxed. When being relaxed lead to confidence, but being relaxed basically move the idea to speak much easier. You probably know the shows when somebody comes that can barely speak, struggle quite a lot, but then they start to sing and they can do it perfectly.
Yes.
Like, what's happening right now? Is this like a physical problem we have with the person? No, I think it's less physical. It's probably more depend on the person. Okay, we're not doctors here. We're not gonna go deep on this part. But in many cases, when you know and learn how to relax, how to be more confident, then the idea of struggling, the idea of pronunciation, in many cases, going away. And I can even go farther with this. Filler words. When we communicate, many of us will say, I'm Evgeny, here to talk about chat GPT. And you're like, what are you just talking about? But if you think about this, we don't want to do pauses. We think that if we're continuously doing sound or creating sound, we're going to be looking smarter, better, faster, whatever it is. So when people asking us questions in many cases, we don't have an answer, and our first sound will be, we can do XYZ.
Right.
And when we speak, the same idea. But if people learn Toastmasters at listening to us or did speaking training, you probably know that instead of doing filler words, we can replace them with pauses. We're not eliminating filler words, we are replacing them. And nothing will happen. Nobody gonna try to inject a word. People will not think you're stupid. And when people asking you a question, instead of answering right away, just take one breath to think about it and start talking about it, or just wait a second. But if you pay attention, depend on what people are talking about. When people talking about their domain, about their expertise, in many cases, it's going to be less filler words. When they're talking about something else that's less familiar, there's going to be more filler words.
Yeah.
We're coming back to being relaxed. We're coming back to being in the zone, in the flow, whatever you want to call this. And we can train ourselves, like monkeys, dogs, to actually be relaxed. We can train ourselves. There's breathing techniques, there's exercise techniques that will calm you down mechanically, magically, whatever you want to call this. We can bring our heart rate down. Look on freediving. Freediving is one of the scariest sports that, compared to other sports, is deeply affected on how relaxed you are. You are still physically moving, and in the same time, you want your heart rate to be as slow as possible, because the slower your heart rate, the less oxygen you're contributing.
Right.
And the less oxygen you're using, the more time you could be underwater.
And you teach this or talk about this in the book?
There's a chapter called Fear.
Okay. Overcoming fear. Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
There's a chapter called basically how to be present, how to overcome fear and why it's important. And I explain what's happening. There's honestly, after the book came out, I added a few things already that I think it's important. So I'm explaining them sometimes on video, and what we just talk about freediving as well right now. So, but yeah, I'm talking about this because if you're a sales engineer, salesperson, and you really know the material and you're very, very smart, but you're still afraid to present, then you need to learn how to regulate yourself.
Where were you back in the 80s when I first got into sales?
I probably was crawling under the table in the kindergarten or somewhere there.
Well, the funny thing is, all the years I spent in, and technically I still do sales, but I've never heard anybody explain how to overcome the fear like you just did. Because I know there are a lot of salespeople, when it comes time to go present or have that one-on-one, they're a nervous wreck.
Do you want to go deeper on this?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
Let's go deeper. So think about this. Is fear good or bad?
I think it can be good. It's a combination of both, really.
Agree. So if you see a kitty cat on the street, you're not scared, good. If you see a lion on the street, you're not scared, there's a problem. Okay, you should be scared. Okay.
I'll probably go try to pet it.
So what I'm getting with this is there's no bad or good in fear. Fear
Right.
is indication that something happening. Okay? So there's something happening and you can decide it's a good or bad. Now, if you take excitement and fear, they're almost like love and hate, very, very close to each other. The difference between fear and excitement is that in fear, I'm not sure about the outcome. With excitement, I kind of sure about the outcome.
Right.
That's why I'm more excited. If I take a child and I show him a swing, if I show him a ride, and they're really, really scared, and we spend 20 minutes to explain that they can go down the slide, the moment they go, the fear translates to exciting and just goes there nonstop 55,000 times. If you're going to roller coasters, that it goes. It's fear and excitement. You know nothing happened, but you still at the same time.
Yeah.
Where I'm getting with this, that we can take the mental model of the fear and translate it to excitement.
Oh.
Because I want to present to one person. I am okay. I think I'm okay to talk to Rich. Now I need to talk to 2 people. I'm still okay. Now I need to talk to 6 people. Now I'm scared.
Right.
But you just did it to 2 or 4. Why are you scared of 6? Because it's something new. It's something unknown. So I'm not actually scared. I am more excited inside because something new. And I'm not sure about the outcome. Maybe they don't like what's happening. But if I convince myself and explain to myself it's going to be the same as I did in 2, I know what I'm doing. And if I make a mistake, nobody going to throw me out of the bus.
Right.
Everything going to be okay. Then I can translate this fear to excitement and just tell myself, ooh, every time I'm scared, it's actually mean it's a new opportunity. It's something I never done. This is why I'm so excited / feared.
Huh.
And you can play with this mental model. It doesn't mean you magically will stop being scared, but you can understand like, oh, okay, it's not bad. It's actually good.
Yeah.
It's mean I care about it. It's mean I need to involve more energy, more power to convince people, to explain people what I'm doing.
Huh. So people can even take that, because I know with salespeople, a lot of people are always afraid of rejection. But if they take what you just said, even that, because you're going to get no's no matter what, it's just natural. But if you know that eventually those no's are going to lead to a yes, you just brush those no's to the side.
You just change the model and say, okay, I'm feared. It's mean I care.
Yeah.
Fine. And let's go. Okay. Do the breathing exercise, calm yourself down even more. Make sure you know your material. Make sure you know what's happening. And something magical happened. Because if you stop thinking less about the fear, your brain, your CPU inside your brain can only pay attention to so many different things. So if you're talking and presenting to people and you want to pay attention to your slide, you want to pay attention to your voice, you want to pay attention to people in front of you, you want to pay attention to you still breathing, and talking, then it's going to be very hard to also pay attention how scared you are.
Yeah.
But if you're going to pay attention on how scared you are, you're not going to have enough focus point to think about the other stuff I just described. You won't pay attention to your slide. You will be very monotone and boring. You're not able to use your tone and pitch in any way. You're going to be very, very, very not real. So by eliminating, translating the fear to excitement, we're actually opening CPU cycles of our brain to pay attention to more information.
Crazy question for you, and I don't think you covered this in the book, but with companies, especially with the sales force, have you ever seen or actually been part of, or even think it's a good idea for companies to take their sales force and basically have like meditation sessions?
I didn't cover this in the book. I saw people just starting doing something like that.
Okay.
I was on a big conference in April last year, and people started doing some meditation in the morning. I saw companies doing like mini yoga in
Yeah.
the morning sometimes when we're still in the offices. So there is more awareness to this right now. And I think it's more awareness about burnout for sure,
Right.
especially on the leaders and not just leaders, engineers as well. So it's slowly getting there. I think we are far away of complete adoption there, but we're getting there.
Burnout's still a problem, isn't it?
And gonna be even more problem because it's when you have the laptop, the device near you, you can always, oh, last message, oh, last email, oh, just you cannot wait till tomorrow,
Yeah. So how can companies actually create environments that proactively prevent burnout while still fostering high performance sales cultures?
Think mini habits, introduce mini habits. Don't book meetings, don't on the entire time. Make sure people have time for lunch. People have time to go stretch, go for a run, for a walk.
Yeah. That's, what? And the funny thing is, when I got out of the IT field, I started seeing companies, actually, the one company I worked for, were even doing that. They would give bonuses to you if you would go out and walk or do some type of exercise. They would even recommend you go downstairs to the gym. And
Nice.
it just, to me, it cleared my head. Made me feel so much better. It actually gave me more confidence as well. I don't know why. Maybe it's just nature breathing it in or something. I don't know.
I think it's just changing the focus, moving the body, relax a bit. It's not the quantity, it's the quality in many, many cases as well.
Yeah. So with the book, because I want to cover one last thing, and then because I don't want to give too much away about it, but I want to talk about the publishing part too. Tell us about the bonus chapter.
Bonus chapter. Yeah, it was an inspiration about to see with a friend of mine what will happen in the future. So it's not pure related to soft skills, but it related to idea what potentially will happen with AI and how people will buy. So basically, we're changing the way we do research. We just discussed about
Right.
we can use ChatGPT, but we're also probably going to see the ways that the companies going to change their website to adapt more for ChatGPTs and the bots to do this. And we're definitely going to see more from ChatGPT's agents right now. We have already agentic AI this year a lot about performing tasks by ourselves, doing the research, comparing quotes, doing some testings.
I just hope people embrace it. I don't know why so many people are afraid, there's that fear word again, of AI. And it's been around since what, the 40s or 50s?
Less, I think, depend on the generation.
Yeah.
And I do think we need to embrace it. I do think we also don't need to jump and put everything there.
Right.
So we need to do baby steps. And especially if you at work, we need to differentiate between your information and the corporate assets. So corporate assets, whatever your policy says at work, doesn't matter who tells you what, you want to be very careful and what information you put in LLMs and ChatGPTs in general, because you may be in trouble.
Absolutely. Oh, always. You're an author. You always got to edit, just like you do with ChatGPT and everything. Whatever it tells you, you have to edit. So what actually inspired you, and I have a funny feeling I know the answer to this already, but inspired you to write the book? And how long did it take you?
Several things. So COVID, because we move or work online and the attention span. The way I saw people presenting and being very similar. Here's my demo, here's my presentation, not adaptive as well. The roles of sales and sales engineering changing. So several things.
Right. And how long did it take you to write?
It was in my mind. I was trying to create proposals for like 6 months, and then I stumbled on editor and decided not to go to a publisher and do self-publishing. And from there, from October till about May, June, so about 9 months.
Okay. And what was the biggest challenge with it?
The biggest challenge is to try not to repeat myself too much.
Right.
Have a relatively small book that had a lot of information. And again, as a first-time author, you're learning from mistakes and you're not sure what's good, what's bad. I already learned some things that I'll maybe do differently, for example, right now. But figure out how you can be adaptive and how the information will work from many type of readers as well.
And I mentioned in the beginning that I believe it could be it is a guidebook, but something to help people in all types of sales. Do you actually believe that?
Yeah, there's going to be a chapter or two that may be very relevant to technology, but everything else can help anyone.
Especially the overcoming fear part.
Oh, 100%.
I mean,
overcome fear, video, voice, burnout. It's all stuff that like how to improve your voice. It's definitely something can help everyone.
Now, is there an audiobook version of it yet?
This audiobook actually released about a month ago.
Really?
Yes.
Are you doing the audio for it?
No, after a lot of thinking, I decided it's going to be very tedious and I decided to hire somebody.
You should have done it yourself.
I know. People told me that I have a good voice for this, but I decided, no.
Well, you can save that for the next one, right?
Yes. Next one, I'm sure it will be my voice, okay?
All right, so what, and I have a funny feeling you are going to be, if you're not working on it already, but any plans on what the next one's going to be about?
Next one, probably going to be focusing on soft skills or engineering or immigrants and e-technology. So I'm trying to figure out which one more. Somehow I levitate more toward immigrants because I think it's a population that dear to my heart.
That's a good idea. Actually, have you thought about writing your own story?
Oh, not yet. There's some stuff in my book about me, but it's not a biography, definitely. No, not right now.
Okay. Eventually.
We need to build the story a bit more.
So with you, I could have sworn I heard something that you also do a podcast.
I have 2 podcasts and related to technology. One is technical with a friend, with Dimitri, and the second one is more about the vendors and this inspiration why they started the company.
So how long have you been doing the podcast?
The first one came out about 4 years ago, and the second one about 2 years ago.
And what are the names of the podcasts?
Security Architecture Podcast is the technology one.
Okay.
And the second one, Cyber Inspiration.
And both of them are still happening? You're still doing both of them?
Yeah. Security Architecture a bit less right now. Cyber Inspiration is still going. There is an idea, because I was interviewing people as part of the book, to do one related to sales and soft skills and connection, but need to find a bit more times to do this.
That could be pretty good.
I hope so. I have a couple of people that I cannot interview them already. I just need to get to the point to actually release them.
All right. So since you've been doing podcasts, because you've been a guest on a lot of podcasts from what I've seen, how has that changed the book sales? Have they increased?
Yes, it's definitely increased. It's definitely helping. But I also learned that it depends on the podcast.
Right.
It depends. It's in some cases, it just brings your name out and create a better vibe. In some cases, it's really impacting the book sales. So it's really depends who it is.
I just love the fact that I love sales books. Always have. I've always read them and still do. Any self-help books, period. I think you can never not get enough of them because you're improving yourself, you know. And this is something that I would definitely recommend to not just people in the IT world, but anybody. I am going to tell my neighbor who is in the cybersecurity field that he does this. He's like, I'm going to tell him he's got to read it. And Ray, I know you listen, so you definitely got to check it out without a doubt. So is there anything you would like to add before I get to my last question? Besides telling everybody where they can get the book and find your podcast.
So book is softskillstech.ca, softskillstech.com, everything about the book and the blog as well. And definitely on Amazon and Audible, available on all the Amazons. On LinkedIn, you can find me as Evgeniy Kharam, Evgenay Kharam. The last part I wanted to say is that think about 80-20 rule or even 90 hand rule. It's very comfortable inside your comfort zone, but from time to time, push yourself and get out of there. It's very, very interesting and rewarding.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I want usually my last question is what's the next big thing, but I don't want to ask you that. I want you to tell everybody about the other things you offer, because you offer different types of coaching, right? And training. So go ahead. Yeah, push that.
Thank you. So I do offering coaching to founders to help them with soft skills and communication. I also coaching and training for customer success, sales engineers, and sales about communication. There is one that I'm not sure it's on the website right now. Is about salespeople communicating better with engineers and vice versa. So team communication. So this is the main one that are soft skills related. And I'm still doing my cybersecurity consulting as well.
And all the people just have to go to Soft Skills Tech. Was it .ca, right?
.ca or .com, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, Evgeniy, I want to thank you so much. When the next book comes out, you got to come back on, right?
I will definitely come back. And it was an honor. The time I flew very, very fast. Like in the beginning, I look on the watch, like, oh, it's 15 minutes. And then I look again, like, oh my God, it's 35 minutes already.
But the thing is, you just listening to you and looking at your book, you gave me an idea of something that I've never done. And I've had a couple people on from the IT field, especially cybersecurity. And I'm going to seriously think about this. And if I do it virtually, I would love for you to come on. I would love to do a round table discussion about cybersecurity.
It's a good idea.
Because I'm
happy to be there.
Oh, awesome. I will make sure it's done, because I think a lot of people they don't understand it.
No.
And it's just like when the cloud came out. A lot of people didn't understand it. They were afraid of it. And people, just like with AI, they need to open their arms and embrace it. And cybersecurity it's big. And it's just growing more and more and more. And I'm glad, at least here, I'm happy to see the schools teaching it as well.
Yes.
And it's amazing. So those of you listening, when you purchase his book, notice I said when, Architecting Success, The Art of Soft Skills, the Technical Sales, Connect to Sell More, make sure you leave a full review. And those of you that are in the field, where in the business where you have a sales team, I would suggest that you buy several different copies for everybody on your sales force, because it's just going to help them, especially the overcoming fear part. So, Evgeniy, thanks so much, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to the Conversations with Rich Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and learned something from it as I did. If you'd like to hear more conversations like this, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you have a moment, I'd love it if you could leave a review. It helps us reach more listeners and share more incredible stories. Don't forget to connect with us on social media or visit our website at conversationswithrichbennett.com for updates, giveaways, and more. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep the conversations going.
Hey, Harford County, I'm Emily Adolph of The Soul Lift. You may remember me as a guest on Rich's podcast. Well, I'm back with something special.
And I'm Ona Crow. We're introducing Nourish and Connect, a gathering space designed to bring people together that feels authentic, supportive, and uplifting.
This is about real relationships, shared wisdom, and growth.
Our gatherings nourish with mindful experiences and reflective activities to leave you inspired.
And they're designed to connect with intentional conversations and welcoming community where you truly belong.
They're the second Wednesday of every month. Join us on April 9th at Doss Beer Hall in Bel Air from 5:30 to 7 p.m. to celebrate spring.
And mark your calendars for May 14th and June 11th. We have amazing experiences planned for summer.
Come as you are, and let's grow together.